Hi everyone. Hello Professor. This is a final presentation for ISM6026 in the group for Sergei Lepeshinski, Maki, and Daniel Sumarriva. The company that we chose for this presentation is Intel, and we looked at their IT annual performance report. The reason why we chose this organization is because when we speak of IT, we cannot overlook sort of the Intel and the role that they play in development of the technology and utilizing the technology for what they do. Commonly, Intel known for manufacturing microchips for the computers, but they do much more than that. They create security measures for the government. They utilize, developing and utilize AI technologies, which we'll cover later in this presentation. But another reason why we chose Intel is because of the scale of this organization. So when we truly look at it, the Intel has over 121,000 employees across the globe, and 4,400 of them are IT employees, which kind of puts it in perspective that there's a lot of IT infrastructure sort of behind the scenes across the organization. In addition, they have 138 global sites in 53 countries. So in order to coordinate and operate efficiently, the information technology department should be essentially at its best. And you can see that the Intel spending heavily in the IT sector and into the management sort of the devices that spread across the globe. And the number of devices that they're utilizing is astonishing. It's 1.2 million devices. So, from the Intel's perspective, they need things to be fast, so they're working on speed of how the data is being sort of transmitted, analyzed, and shared. They're working on speed of manufacturing, data analytics, and AI plays sort of a crucial role in helping optimize the processes and speed up the processes. When we talk about Intel, considering where their chips are being used, we have to talk about quality. So there has to be quality measures, and Intel does a very good job utilizing, again, technology to implement those measures. We talk about security. Information technology today is synonymous with security. So Intel continuously has to innovate and make sure that they review and develop security measures for all of their applications. Of course, the manufacturing capabilities and supporting the customers. I mean, their chips are used across the entire world on a very large scale. So it's very important that Intel sort of allocates enough resources to support all of those customers. And the front runner of sort of success of the Intel is the innovation. So in order to, information technology in general evolves extremely fast. So in order to keep up, and not only to keep up, but to be competitive and to satisfy sort of customer needs and to continue to flourish and grow as an organization, innovation is a critical part for the Intel. One of the examples from their report was the emphasis on DevOps practice, which enables communication between the software engineers, the IT operations, to create sort of a continuous loop of development and enhancement of their technologies, where collaboration is so sort of fluid that they're able to develop new things or maintain the new things, update new things in real time without any significant delay. And the next slide will be covered by Daniel Sumarriva.
Thanks, Sergei. This is Daniel Sumarriva now. I'll continue with the presentation on the Intel IT annual performance review, and I'll be covering right now the unified customer focus that Intel has. So a few concepts here that Intel lays out for us in this report had to do with the unified customer data, as well as the unified experience platform and the sales assist application that they have. And just to talk a little bit about the concept behind these unified customer data to begin with, this unified customer data basically refers to the process of aggregating, organizing, and consolidating this customer data. And they do it for various sources and channels, really centralizing everything into one view and channeling all this information in a unified view that really enables the businessmen and the businesses to better understand their customers. And this provides this really a tailored, personalized experience that optimizes all their marketing efforts. So that was neat to see. The only thing that they mentioned is a unified experience platform, and that goes along with the data platform. So this is a customer, basically data platform that is prepackaged to unify all of the customers' database and pull the data again from multiple sources by creating these customer profiles and a structured data that's available to all the systems. A great example is, say a customer accesses online the product one day and then wants to contact the seller the next day, and now the seller can view the same information and use it to provide a more tailored experience. And finally, a sales assist application would really, in this case, integrates all of the tools that sales provides. They talk about 15 different types of assist that really help a lot of sellers. In this case, this was an AI, an artificial intelligence-based actionable insights that enables all this access to better identify key areas to help the customers and provide all these to their accounts. So it's really an asset as well. I'll move on to the next topic here. So Intel also laid out for us a little bit about their smart factories. And this really has a lot to do with different concepts regarding virtual reality and augmented reality. So just to lay out the basics as well here, this has been the next big thing for several years now for many companies, virtual reality, which is, its time has finally come to a way to generate realistic images and sounds and other sensations that put you in the middle of a really imaginary world versus augmented reality, which really adds virtual stuff to the real world environment you're living in. So it contributes to really using both technologies to be part of not the future but the present. And the way they wanted to tailor these was basically utilizing these technologies to reduce training times and increase the employee efficiency in their processes. So there's obviously an administrative overhead, and they mentioned that how provisioning all of this might be expensive because of the equipment, but they have adopted all of these considering how efficient it could be for their operations. So they really done a great job providing this infrastructure to have the necessary tools to make AR and VR ready for their enterprises. And the other thing they mentioned was artificial intelligence. And this is more regarding the solutions that can be provided as a tool. So AI for Intel really is, high performance hardware that is just optimizing their software to support multiple simultaneous analytics. So simulation and modeling, deep learning, really demanding workloads as it is. And they've been able to manufacture these different patterns to allow them to utilize all these analyses they have in their engineering factories, the silicon wafer factories, and this really allows them to scale this up and meet all of the needs of the customers as well. And the other concept that they also introduced and that I'll be talking about is these HPCs, which is this high performing computing systems. This is really a way to power at scale all of these HPC technologies that Intel has. And what really they do with this HPC portfolio is to help all the users and their system builders and the solution providers and developers as well to achieve the results they really want to do outstandingly due to the demanding workloads and the complex problems that they need to solve on a day-to-day basis. So they really provide a range of HPC technologies to build these ideal HPC architecture systems and applications, if you will. And this really maximizes the possibilities to use all their series of processors. So they architect really these future computing demands, utilizing this HPC plus the AI workloads I already spoke about. And they use these CPUs and GPUs, these processors, really to accelerate science and discover by delivering breakthrough performance and unblocking these all these bottlenecks for memory-bound workloads. And this is across different industries, which is really telling. It's not just financial services or manufacturing; it's even life services, or sorry, life sciences, which is part of the of my arena here, and also energy sectors too. So it was really neat to see how they really bolster all these efficiencies for these computing storages, and they identify how to reduce waste reduction and how to really shorten these turnaround times and really reduce the computing requirements by big percentages. So they're really moving the needle forward here as well. I'll stop here and I'll pass on the baton now to Seek. Thank you.
Intel is leveraging artificial intelligence not just for problem solving, they're also using it for growth and gains of efficiency. So they're taking this five-prong approach to deploying artificial intelligence and improving their business. The first one they're using is a concept called the AI Center for Excellence. Now, historically, if you look at corporate America, these centers of excellence have typically revolved around a group of subject matter experts that are readily available to the rest of the organization. Now, this takes a little bit of a different turn and a different spin on that whole concept in that AI provides that subject matter expert. This is relevant because a lot of the concepts that it's providing support for are incredibly complex and changing all the time, and that's what makes AI an ideal source of this information. And this is typically, at least the way Intel is deploying it, is going to be used with these knowledge workers, people that are doing highly technical tasks. The second one is deploying new models. As Intel's chips get ever more complex, they have more complex models. These are taking longer to build and to deploy. I mean, we're talking about months to design and then ultimately release a new model. Well, artificial intelligence allows them to design these models sometimes in 25 minutes or less, as the numbers are quoting. Next gen Intel chips, 20 of the next feature set coming out on the next set of chips came from AI, and this includes improved battery life, improved performance. So AI is just better suited to run analysis on a highly complex structure like the chips that Intel's manufacturing. AI everywhere. This is similar to that center of excellence idea. This is deploying AI as kind of your subject matter expert sitting right next to you, except with a much broader range of skills. And then Ask IT, which is a chat bot, very similar to the Chat GPT, although much more focused on highly technical subject matter. So this is the five-prong approach that Intel is using to deploy artificial intelligence. I would have to guess, if we're having this conversation in 2 years from now, that conversation is going to be very different, and about almost every single one of these slides is probably going to revolve around artificial intelligence. Here on slide number 8, we're talking about cybersecurity. Within the parlance of Intel, when they looked at cybersecurity and the way the world looked at cybersecurity, it was the folks outside the gate, and then there were the trusted folks on the inside of the gate. What corporate America has found out to its detriment is that your biggest liability are those trusted folks on the inside of the gate. Now, these are the people that are typically opening the emails, or the people that are going to allow the hackers in, open some piece of software, inadvertently allowing the malware to be installed. There's a new concept called zero trust, and I personally heard it for the first time a few months ago when our CIO was talking. This is taking the approach that you can't really trust anyone regardless of where they are. Once you have that framework in mind, you can start isolating where the pockets of potential security issues are, as opposed to having one side of the wall that's completely open and one side of the wall that's completely closed. It also, that framework, and it's part of like the way Palo Alto Networks is viewing the world, similar to Intel. These aren't the first guys that have looked at this. What that does is it just changes your architecture and starts freeing up those pinch points, such as just the ports that where you're normally going to allow information through. But it's the zero trust model, which is really revolutionizing. The way that Intel is supporting that is through hardware supported solutions to all these, to what is ultimately going to be a software, ultimately a software application. So the hybrid workspace and equipment standardization, this is two things that work well together. Hybrid workspace, this is not a new concept. This has been around a long time. It really got a lot of airtime during COVID just because so many people work from home. But having a hybrid workspace has been in place since the 80s. IBM struggled with this very early on. They were very public not too long ago when their old CEO came out and described the challenges that they faced in having people work from home, working from remote locations, trying to bring them all together, trying to get team cohesion. So the way Intel is approaching this is they can't help on the organization side, but what they can do is provide support whereby all of your equipment and those experiences, the technology experiences specifically, are seamless. And so whether you're down the hall or whether you're at home, instead of feeling like, hey, I'm dialing in on Zoom and my experience is very different from somebody sitting in the office, they're trying to make those as mutually exclusive as possible, but at the same time, bringing those together so that it feels like one same experience. And that also dovetails onto the equipment standardization, which is you shouldn't have a virtual room, dialing into your office, while at the same time you're looking at completely different network setup when you're there. What Intel is looking to do is to bring that same experience, just like the hybrid workspace, to the user. And so they're going to have, it's not going to be a bunch of different pieces of equipment with different solutions on how you dial in or how you meet up, but it's going to be one solution. It's going to come from the same piece of equipment. And generally speaking, it's all because the cloud has facilitated this. And then replacing VPNs, this is exactly what I was just alluding to. Normally when you dial into your company's network, you're going through a VPN. Once you move all of that data to a secure cloud, everybody has the same experience when you're dialing in. I'd say dialing in, remoting in, I guess. So moving here to slide number 10. So Intel's the future of information technology. Information technology and the future are going to be a two-part. It's going to be the software solutions, largely, when we look at AI, and then it's going to be the hardware solutions. Now, Intel historically has been a leader on the hardware side. Those two worlds are beginning to blend. So you've got constant iteration, which Intel is using AI to try to keep pace with the millions of permutations that they need to look at in order to stay current with the evolution of AI. And then when you think about COVID and the impact it had, it says in times of crisis, technology proved paramount. What they've recognized is, while that was viewed as code, the work from home was kind of viewed as a one-off, it really is the future. And Intel's solutions are going to be not just the backbone, but they're also going to be they're also going to work together with those software solutions in providing the applications, the speed, the prevalence, the pervasiveness that they need to fulfill on all these promises, which is this seamless hybrid work environment where everybody feels like they're all together in one building. Hopefully that was helpful and gave you some insight into how Intel is really changing the way that the world works within the information framework. And that is our presentation.